Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining this editor webinar. I'm Marjorie, and I'm part of Elsevier's Learning and Content Management team. I'll be hosting this session today, and joining me are my colleagues, Charlotte and Carol. If you have any questions at any time, please feel free to use the Q&A option to send your question directly to us. We'll try to answer as many questions as possible in the time that we have today, and we'll answer those directly in the Q&A field. Please note that we cannot answer any journal-specific questions. Those should be directed to your journal manager or other support contact. For the best view, you may wish to drag the central bar on your screen to the right to enlarge the screen that I am sharing. Also to note, our session is being recorded, and you'll be sent a link when the recording is ready. So our topic for today's webinar is editor training on Editorial Manager. And I hope that in the next 60 minutes or so, we can enhance your understanding of this topic. So we'll go ahead and take a look at our agenda for today. So our agenda will include information on editor registration and logging in. Then we'll discuss the editor main menu and the to-do list. Following this, we'll cover how to deal with a new submission, including managing the review process and submitting a decision. Following this, we'll take a brief moment to discuss reporting and administrative functions. And then lastly, I'll provide information on the editor guide to Editorial Manager, additional training resources, and the support that's available to you as editors. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to transition over to Editorial Manager now. Okay, and Carol, can you confirm that you can see my Editorial Manager screen?
Yes, Marjorie, we can.
Awesome. Okay, well then to log into your Editorial Manager account, here on the home page, you would just simply enter your username and password and then click Editor Login. If you are a new editor, note you will need to click the Register Now link using your email to register with the journal. In addition, and this is more often the case with guest editors, if you attempt to log in or register but run into issues such as the system letting you know that you already have an account, or you can log in but you're not seeing the information you expected, for instance, a particular manuscript, please contact your journal manager or other support contact, as this is often due to multiple or duplicate accounts being created. So by contacting support, they can go ahead and merge those accounts for you. So again, you would just enter your username and password and then click Login, and it's going to take you to your main menu. In the top right of the page, you'll see a simple search option. This will allow you to quickly search by manuscript number, article title, or author name. Also, depending on your role permissions, you may see that you have the option to search submissions and or search people. The search people option will allow you to search all registered users of the journal, and the search submission options allows you to search just the submissions assigned to you or all submissions, also dependent on whether or not your role has the appropriate permission. So I'm going to click here on search submissions so that we can have a look at this. You may search by various criteria using the drop-down options. So for example, if I wanted to search for all manuscripts with the article type special issue DNA extraction, I would just enter the article type in the criteria field, leave the other fields as they are. It will default on is equal to. And then for the value, I would select that special issue DNA extraction and then click search. And it'll go ahead and run that search for me. And once the search is complete, you will also see that you have a save search icon here in the upper left of the screen. This is a very useful feature, especially if you find yourself running the same search often. By clicking this icon, you will be you will have the option to provide a search criteria name, as well as save this search to your main menu. So for instance, if I went ahead and name this as that special issue, DNA extraction. And then I ticked show this search in the main menus, and then click submit. Once I go back to that editor main menu, I will now see that save search option here. So you'll see special issue DNA extraction. It is now saved under the quick searches.
Marjorie, Would you just zoom in slightly on your screen, please? Thank you. I think that would help us to see a little bit in closer detail what we're looking at here. Perhaps one more. Yes, that looks much better. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And just a note regarding the quick searches, these are quick searches that you personally save. So you won't see other editors' quick searches saved on your main menu. So these will be specific to you. Okay. If you are the first assigned editor for a journal that uses a direct-to-editor workflow, you'll find all new submissions in this first folder, the Direct-to-Editor New Submissions folder. Similarly, you will find revised submissions in this Direct-to-Editor Revised Submissions folder. To access the contents of any folder here on your main menu, you would go ahead and click that link. So I'm going to show, if you are a first assigned editor for a journal that uses the direct-to-editor workflow and you want to assign this submission to yourself, the steps that you will follow to do that. Okay, so we will first click Direct-to-Editor New Submissions. We will click that folder. And then from the action column on the left, you will see the various options available for each new submission. Most of them, which we'll highlight in further detail in just a moment. But again, if you're the first assigned editor for a journal that uses that direct-to-editor workflow and you want to handle the submission yourself, you would click the link Assign to Myself. So doing so will assign you as the handling editor of this submission, and the submission will move to your new assignments folder. Let me try that just one more time. Apologies here. Okay, and it did move to my folder. I apologize for that. So when you do that, that submission will no longer be found in your direct-to-editor new submissions folder. And let's just confirm that here. Okay, so it has moved to that new assignments folder here. So we'll now find that submission in our new assignments folder. So we can see it here now in our new assignments folder. So before next going into this folder into a little bit more detail, I'll give a brief overview of the other key folders found on your editor to-do list. So let's go back to the editor to-do list and we'll talk through the folders here first, and then we'll dig a little bit further into that new assignments folder. So again, all new assignments that are sent to you will be found in your new assignments folder. When you invite reviewers, the paper will move to the reviewers invited no response folder. When the reviewers have agreed to review and they're working on their comments, the paper will move to the submissions under review folder found here. And then finally, once the number of required reviews have been complete and the paper is ready for your decision, it will move to submissions with required reviews complete. So we'll move to this folder. And just a note about the folders on your editor main menu, papers do not move sequentially from one folder to the next. These are just different ways of categorizing the submissions within each folder. So those key folders are the ones that we just named here. And then you'll also see some additional folders that are just different ways of categorizing the submissions that are within that folder. Okay, so regarding the colors that you see here, in Editorial Manager, submissions are placed in folders related to their current status and the type of action they require. Many publications do have the color-coded signpost, as you see here, enabled, which will allow you to see at a glance which folders on your main menu contain submissions that require attention most urgently. So journals can define the time thresholds for each of these directly themselves. But in general, these are going to be defined by red, indicating a submission is late, yellow or amber, indicating a submission needs attention, and then green are submissions that are on schedule. If these color-coded signposts are enabled, they are displayed within each folder. So if I were to click one of these folders, we would see those color-coded signposts flowing into each individual submission. Okay, so next we'll look further into the new assignments folder and discuss the process for handling a new submission. So I'll go ahead and click new assignments. Okay, and in Editorial Manager, search results and submissions within individual folders are displayed as a power grid, which is just referring to how this display is looking. So this power grid, it does feature columns that you can sort. So you can click to sort. For instance, if I want to sort by date, initial date, I can just do that and sort that. I can also click and drag these if I would like to reorder. I can do so. It also allows you via the grid options that you can access by clicking this little grid icon here. It does also allow you to hide or fix specific columns at your discretion by clicking that gear icon here on the top right. And then you can choose if there's certain information that you want to be fixed, you want to show first, or certain information that you want to hide. You can just simply untick. And again, all new submissions will be displayed in this table, and you will always see this action column on the left. So just to go through some of the key action items here, to view the submission, you would just click the View Submission link, and it will download a PDF of the paper to your device. As you can see, it automatically downloaded it here. All of the files that the author submitted with their manuscript, you can access via the file inventory link. And also, Elsevier journals on Editorial Manager use the similarity check, which is going to be this link. The similarity check service provided by Crossref and powered by Authenticate to provide editors with a user-friendly tool to help detect plagiarism. This is an automatic check done on all new submissions, and it's done by the tool comparing submitted manuscripts with both a web repository and the cross-check database, which contains more than 50 million published articles from over 200 publishers. So the result is you would see an interactive similarity report, which highlights areas of similar text content and calculates a similarity index. So you can access this again by clicking the similarity check results link. And then once you do click that, it will open up, just letting you know that is the status of that. And you would click complete, and then it will open up that report that I just showed here on the screen. So also please liaise with your publisher or other editors for your journal if you have any concerns about plagiarism. The next link, the duplicate submission check, is an automatic check that helps to avoid duplicate submissions to a journal. So since this is a test submission, you'll see high numbers of duplicate information here, but I do want to show you for an example. A percentage will display. You can see it here easily from the action column, or when you click it and open it up, you'll see it here in the top right corner. It includes a list of similar submissions based on comparison of the title, the authors, as well as the abstract. Okay, so the details link here, it does provide you with an overview of key submission and manuscript details, including author information. There's an easy way to view the abstract. There'll also be article transfer information, if any, as well as manuscript classifications will be shown as well. It also allows you to use a mail icon here to send an email to various users related to the submission. So
I'm sorry, Marjorie, to interrupt. We're not seeing the details tab.
Okay.
Apologies. Someone's just flagged that in the Q&A. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. If we could just recap the details tab. Thank you.
Can you see it now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. My apologies. So this link here, which is going to be the details link, it'll provide you with the overview of all of this key information regarding the submission. So you'll easily be able to access such information as author details, abstract, if there's any article transfer information, classifications, or any notes submitted by the author or any manuscript notes from other editors. It also allows you to use a mail icon that you will see next to different users. For instance, if you want to contact the author or other editors, you can use this mail icon to send an email to various users. Okay, the initiate discussion option, which you will see here. I'm going to click that so that you can see that. It allows you to begin a discussion about a submission with one or more editors of the journal. So for more information on this feature, we do have a full-length video that talks through all of the details on this that we'll share. And I'll also show you how to access our editor guide, which will contain this video as well. But it does allow you to enter a topic, any initial comments. You can select an editor that you would like to initiate a discussion with. And this allows you to discuss the manuscript with another editor without the need to assign it to another editor. Okay, so should you decide to go ahead and assign this paper to another editor, you would click the Assign Editor link here. And it will only appear for editors with role permission to invite other editors, and it will allow you to easily do so just by clicking that link. You would view the editors listed here. You would simply select the editor you would like to assign the submission to. And then if you click Send Default Letters, it will just send the default predetermined letter that the journal has set up to the editor, letting them know that they've been invited. Alternatively, if you click Send Custom Letters, you will be able to view the letter, make any edits that you need prior to sending that to the editor. And once you do send that letter, the submission will then be assigned to that editor for handling, and they will find that in their new assignments folder. The Invite Reviewers link, it will take you to the reviewer selection summary page, which we will explore further in just a moment here, as well as the Submit Editor's Decision and Comments link, which can be accessed at any point in the submission process. You can make a decision at any point, but we will also discuss making a decision further in just a moment as well. So next, we'll go ahead and discuss managing the review process. So again, to begin this process, you would click the Invite Reviewers link that's going to be found on your action column. I'm going to click that now, Invite Reviewers. Okay, in fact, I am actually going to invite reviewers from an older submission here. So we're going to click Invite Reviewers. Okay, and this will display your reviewer selection summary page. On this page, you can search for reviewers as well as invite reviewers. And just to know, Elsevier is committed to furthering inclusion and diversity together with you as the editors, and we do strive to avoid creating or reinforcing unfair bias. So please review the reviewer list before sending invitations, taking gender, career stage, global representation into consideration when inviting reviewers. So on the left side of the screen here you will see the Invite Reviewers menu, which provides quick links to relevant items and folders. At the top of this menu, you'll find the journal's default settings for this article type, which are found under Review Settings. So Reviews Required 2 is letting you know that this submission will move to the Submissions with Required Reviews Complete folder as soon as 2 reviews have been complete. The Uninvite After information, it is relating to reviewers who don't respond to the invitation after a certain number of days. So if you invite a reviewer and they don't respond after, in this instance, 15 days, the system will automatically uninvite that reviewer. The item Unassigned After is referring to reviewers who have already agreed to review, but they have not yet completed their review. So the number here will let you know after how many days they will be automatically unassigned. And if the number is 0, that simply means that this option is turned off so that those reviewers will not be automatically unassigned. And you do, for submissions that you're directly handling, you do have the ability to edit these settings for your specific submission by clicking Edit. And this will only change these reviewer settings for this submission. So these are editable, you can change them. If you do change it to 0 under Uninvite Reviewers who do not respond or unassign, then that will turn that item off. So it will not uninvite reviewers. Okay, so here in the main body of the menu here, you'll see ways to find reviewers using Scopus. And then further down, halfway down the page, you'll see various search types that you can use to search for reviewers. These first 5 links that you see here, or tabs that you see here, these will all search for reviewers within your publication, but there's various ways that you can use these to search for reviewers. The second way that you can search for reviewers, which is what you'll see here on the center of the screen, at the top of the screen, and the last tab on the center, is Find Reviewers using Scopus. So what we're actually going to do is start with the Find Reviewers using Scopus option. And then after we cover that, we'll talk through the options to search for reviewers within your journal's database. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Find Reviewers using Scopus tab here. And it will automatically open the Find Reviewers using Scopus Editorial Manager feature. It is important that you do allow pop-ups on your device so that this screen will open up on your device. And so you can just allow pop-ups from editorial managers. And if you do that, you'll only really need to do that first time. So opening the tool, the first tab that it will land on is System Recommendations. And so what this does is it takes all of the submission metadata, all the information provided by the author, as well as everything we know about reviewers from Scopus and other Elsevier journals on EM, to create this list of up to 100 recommended reviewers for you to select from to add to your manuscript. So here you will see under that first tab, as I scroll down, you can see that list of that 100 recommended reviewers from the system. So clicking any of these reviewers, it will display on the right side further information about that reviewer, including Elsevier editorial history, content matches. You can also see keywords, reviewing history, quite a bit of information you'll see for each of these reviewers. In addition, you have filter options where you can filter these recommendations based on different criteria, such as H-index, expertise, connections, or review history. Once you do find a reviewer that you are interested in adding to your submission, you would just tick Add to Manuscript. And then you will see this green button with a check mark saying that that reviewer was added to your manuscript. I will show you what it will look like when we click Return to the Submission to go back to that reviewer selection page, and you'll see the next steps you can take after you select the reviewer you wish to invite. So under that first tab, System Recommendations, that'll allow you to search those recommended reviewers there. Keyword search, which is the next tab, it will allow you to search for reviewers or individuals on Scopus based on keywords that you enter. The system does automatically suggest keywords based on keywords entered by the author, as well as by classification selected by the author. So you can easily add those keywords. Here, you can click search, and the results will look similar to what was displayed before. And if you see reviewers that you would like to add, you will go ahead and click again, Add to Manuscript. And they'll be added to your manuscript. So I'm going to click it again here. The next tab is Author Search. This will allow you to search Scopus based on author information. So you can simply enter last name, first name, affiliation, email address, information here, and then it will run the search based on those details. It also shows suggested reviewers entered by the author. So if you would like to quickly search those reviewers, you can do so as well. In this case, you would just click that person's name, and then it will go ahead and search for that person. Reference authors is pretty much as it's referred to. This will just allow you to search based on the authors that are referenced, so that are listed in the references of the submission. You can search their information in Scopus as well. Interested reviewers, it will not display here since this is a test submission, but reviewers are able to access reviewing history on our reviewer hub. On that reviewer hub, they also have the option to volunteer to review for specific journals. If they do volunteer to review for your journal, you will see a list of interested reviewers here under the Find Reviewers tool. And when those reviewers are listed, you will also have the same option to go ahead and add them to the manuscript. Finally, here, I just want to cover journal reviewers. This is in beta as well as the reference authors. So just to note that you all will see up to these 6 links here. All of them may not be listed for your particular journal. But if you do have access and you see journal reviewers here, this does allow you to browse active reviewers from your journal database in Editorial Manager. You would be able to search those reviewers within the Find Reviewers tool and add them to your submission as well. So once you have found all of the reviewers or selected the reviewers that you would like, you would click Return to Submission. And what the tool will do is it will pull that information from those reviewers you selected in the Find Reviewers tool, and it will list them as your potential reviewer candidates. It will also let you know if this person is a registered reviewer for your journal, or if not, it will say that the reviewer candidate will be proxy registered when you click Proceed or when you perform another search. Okay, so for this example, since these are reviewers listed in Scopus, I am not going to invite them at this point, but I did want to show you what that will look like. And once you do pull them in, as is the case with all of the search options, you'll have the option of inviting a reviewer, which in the next steps, it'll allow you to go ahead and send invitations to them now. You can have them listed as an alternate reviewer, which will list the reviewer on the reviewer selection summary page. And if one of your invited reviewers declines or is uninvited, the system will automatically, what we call promote that reviewer, meaning it will automatically invite that reviewer. Proposed reviewers are reviewers that are saved on your reviewer selection summary page as a reference to you. You can use this personally to save other potential reviewers and add a note for yourself about, why you would want to save that reviewer on your list. Or some journals use this as an option for previous handling editors or higher level editors to recommend reviewers for a particular submission for the editor being assigned. So you may receive a submission where it already has proposed reviewers listed. This is just meaning that another editor has recommended that reviewer for this submission. So I am going to just go back so that we can take a look at the other options for searching for reviewers within the system. So I did mention previously that the other 5 options displayed here are going to allow you to search for reviewers within your publication. So by that, I mean within your journal's database of all users. So this first tab, My Publication, is one that you would use most often when you have some type of information for the users that you are looking for. So for instance, you see this criteria drop-down option here. I can search by last name, first name, email address, etc. I'll have some type of information that I want to use to search for reviewers. So for instance, if I want to search by last name, and let's say I know that this person's last name is Reviewer, I can use that and search for all users within the journal's database with the last name Reviewer. In addition, I can add additional options. So I don't have to search for one at once. I can also search for another criteria, such as first name. And if I have that information, I can enter the first name there. And when I'm ready, I can go ahead and search. I also have the option to change this to and if there's multiple identifiers or multiple criteria for a particular person I would like to search by. I can do that as well. So when I click search, it's going to search registered users within this journal and is going to display the results here. And as you can see, this is a similar format to when we pulled in that reviewer information from Find Reviewers before. But every time you do search within the journal based on those criteria, those first 5 tabs, you'll see the results this way. You'll first see your option to select how you would like to use that individual as a reviewer. You'll see the reviewer information. You'll see classifications, as well as reviewer statistics and invitation statistics for this journal. So again, let's say I do see these reviewers and I want to go ahead and invite Sally, solicitor here. And I also want to invite Robert, reviewer. And let's say I want to have Richard as an alternate. And then let's use this new reviewer as an alternate as well. And we'll have a proposed reviewer here as well. So once we do have that information, and this process will be the same for the different ways that you can search for reviewers within the journal, I'll go ahead and click proceed. And on the next screen, it will be a summary showing me the reviewers that I selected to invite, the reviewers I selected as alternates, as well as any proposed reviewers. It will also give me the opportunity to customize the invitation letter, should I wish to do so, or view it by simply clicking customize. I could also change the number of days that the reviewer has to complete their review after they've accepted the invitation. I can do that for reviewers that I've invited, as well as the alternate reviewers. And I can also see the proposed reviewers that'll be added to my list of proposed reviewers. And here I will also have the option to add a note. To myself or to another editor here. In addition, you'll see these tabs that say do not invite, do not use, or do not use for proposed reviewers. If you get to this point in the process and you decide, I actually do not want to invite this person, or I don't want to use this reviewer, you would simply tick the box And then when you confirm your selections on the next page, it will not include that reviewer in the next part of the process. So I'll go ahead and click Confirm Selections and Proceed. The system will send a letter to the reviewers that were invited. It will add the alternate reviewers to the list of alternates, but it will not send an email notification to those reviewers until they are promoted. And then your reviewers that you've added as proposed reviewers, they will simply just be added to the list, and it'll confirm that those reviewers have been added. So I'll go ahead and return to the reviewer selection summary, and we'll briefly cover the additional options, and then we'll talk further about next steps. So suggested by author is the next tab. This tab will show you any reviewers that the author suggested at the submission process. So in this case, we're showing one suggested reviewer. If I would like to select that reviewer, I would click Select Suggested Reviewers, and the system will automatically search within the journal's database for that reviewer. And in this case, the search did find that reviewer in the system. And if I choose to use them, I will go ahead and do the same thing by just ticking one of the options here to add them as an alternate, a proposed, or invited reviewer. If your journal uses classifications, you will also see the options of personal classifications and classification matches as options to search for reviewers. Personal classifications is going to first show you the classifications for this manuscript. So it will show you these are the classifications that the author connected to their submission when they were submitting. And it gives you the opportunity to search by those by just ticking and adding selected classifications. So with the personal classification, there's a minor correction to this one. With the personal classification, it allows you as the editor to view the classifications that the author selected, but it also gives you the freedom to select which classifications you would like to search by. It does not have to be just the ones that the author selected. You will also be able to search any classification for the journal that has matching reviewers. So by doing this, you would add that information. You would scroll down and click Search for Reviewers. And it will automatically perform that search based on the classification you selected. It'll show you and sort first by the number of matches of the classifications that were shown here. And again, you will follow the same steps and choose the reviewers you would like to invite, have as alternates, or have as proposed reviewers. One other thing to note here, when you are performing these various searches for reviewers, you will see in the second dropdown, you'll see from all reviewers. You may also see from entire database. In the future, we are updating this to where your search will automatically default to search every user within the system. But for some of these options right now, it is going to search all reviewers. These are all users who are identified as reviewers already for your journal. If you would like to search everyone, this would include authors. It will include editors who may not have a reviewer role. If you want to search everyone, you would simply switch this to entire database and click go to perform that search to include the entire database. Okay. The difference between this option of personal classifications and classification matches is that when we search by classification matches, it will first show you the classifications that the author submitted as part of the manuscript submission process. So this one, it is asking which of the classifications that the author identified would you would like to find matching reviewers for. And you can select one or all of the classifications. And when you tick, you have the option to search by classifications, and it'll run a similar search but it will show you the results based on the number of matching classifications it has to the ones that you've selected here. And the last tab that I would like to review is the Suggest Reviewers option here. The Suggest Reviewers option is going to search for reviewers based on criteria that you customize using this link, My Suggest Reviewer Preferences, here on the left side. So if I click this link, it will open up a screen here that allows me to customize my Suggest Reviewer Preferences. So let's say, for instance, for me, when I search for reviewers, I don't want to include people from the same institution, or I don't want to include people with more than a certain number of reviews in process, or a certain number of, a certain number of matching classifications. Let's say I don't want fewer than 2. I could indicate those here by just entering this information. So I could say if they're not available within the next 15 days, I don't want them to be included, or based on the number of reviews they have in progress or classifications. You can also reorder the items here and determine if, for instance, the date the last review completed may be most important to you, whether or not they're a board member may be most important, and you can customize those selections and click Submit. Once you do that, the next time you perform a search using the Suggest Reviewers tab and click Search, it will perform that search based on your criteria that you entered here under My Suggest Reviewer Preferences. Lastly, here on the Find Reviewers page, I also want to point out, if you are unable to find a reviewer within the system, let's say you search my publication, you have their information, you entered it in, you entered an email address, and you searched and you're not getting any results. Let's say you are filtered on entire database. You've also searched Find Reviewers using Scopus for this particular person, and you are not seeing any results. You can register and select a new reviewer by clicking this link here, Register and Select New Reviewer. It will ask you for their email address first, and then some basic information regarding the person. And then you can go ahead and click Proceed. It will send the individual an email letting them know they've been registered as a reviewer within the system. They can decline that, but you can do that to go ahead and register them. And then from there, you'll be able to send them the invitation to review. Okay, so once you do have all of your selected reviewers, they will show here under the review status. So it will show I have 2 reviewers invited, Robert and Sally. When I've invited them, I also have the option to send a reminder to them or manually uninvite them if I wish to do so. If they are uninvited, I will see an option to re-invite the reviewer here. The alternate reviewers will also be listed. I can reorder them because alternate reviewers will be promoted in the order that they're listed. Should I want to manually promote or manually invite the alternate reviewer now, I would just click the arrow icon to promote that person. I could also link them. Let's say I only want to invite Richard. If Sally declines, I could press the link icon and link Richard with Sally. And then that person will show underneath the reviewer they're linked to. And if I want to unlink, I will just simply click unlink, the unlink icon, and I can unlink that reviewer. Lastly, I can also discard or remove the alternate reviewer by clicking the trash icon. And I also can see any proposed reviewers listed, any notes. I can click view to view those notes. So that's the note that we've added there. I can also choose to go ahead and invite the proposed simply by clicking the invite button here. Okay, so that is going to cover the searching for and inviting reviewers section here. Okay, so now we're going to go back and discuss submitting a decision. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the main menu. And as mentioned before, you will find submissions that have the required number of reviews complete in your submissions with required reviews complete folder. So I'm going to go ahead and click this folder, and that will allow me to easily access submissions where reviews are complete. Alternatively, as mentioned, you can make a decision on a submission at any point in the submission process as well. So once I do open this folder, I can see this particular article. It has 2 reviews complete. Under the review status column, I can hover over and it'll show easily what those recommendations were. And I can go ahead and click Submit Editor's Decision and Comments here to go ahead and submit that decision. Okay, so here from this screen, the editor decision and comment screen, I will see easily at the top a drop-down option to go ahead and select my decision. I will go ahead and review everything first, but then when I'm ready, I would just click the drop-down, select my decision. Some journals also will ask for you to rate the manuscript overall, and you would just enter a number here from 1 to 100. So in this case, I can see that there have been 2 reviews that have been completed by Sally and Robert. I can easily see that information by clicking the recommendation here, and a little card will pop up and it will show me that information. So in this case, I can see minor revision here. I can see the overall manuscript rating and individual answers to the rating questions as well. If for any reason there was a, let's say a reviewer made a mistake when completing their review and they've reached out and asked if they can resubmit their review, you will see an option at the top of this rating card to reopen the review. So once you click that, it will return that review to the reviewer as a draft, and they will have the option to go ahead and complete their review and resubmit. So within the rating card and also on the main screen here, we'll see information regarding, I'm going to exit that. We'll see information, confidential comments to editors. These are comments from the reviewers to you, which are confidential. It'll show you based on the how the anonymization of the journal. It'll either show just reviewer and it'll say their information, or we'll show you the reviewer and the reviewer's information. So in this case, we can see our first reviewer said that it was good, but needed minor revisions, and that they've attached information for the author's attention. And you could also see the information from the second reviewer that's saying it is ready for acceptance. If I would like to see the reviewer attachments, at the top, there's a link that says attachments. If I click that, I can open up any attachments by the reviewers. And it will also give me an option to allow the author to access this information and to allow other reviewers to access this information. If I don't click this link here, if I don't tick this button here, I'll have an option later to do so. But I do want to show you, let's say I want the author to see this attachment, I would need to indicate that here. And I can also download that copy as well. Comments to author. This is actually going to be comments from you as an editor to the author. And this will be included in the decision letter in a custom, in an open field. It will pull this information and add it to the decision letter, any comments directly from you. Below this, you'll see individual reviewer comments to the author. So first was the comments to the editor. Next was your comments to the author. And here you will see the reviewer comments to the author. You can untick if you don't want them to be shown, but by default, they will be ticked to be shown. Should you see anything that you would need to edit, you can do that. For instance, if there's personal identifying information in the comments, you can simply remove that information as well here. Okay, your production notes are generally any key information that needs to go to production. This is often used by the editorial offices. Any custom questions that the reviewers were asked, you can also see that information here on the screen. Journals also have the option to create custom decision phrases. That way you don't have to enter these decision phrases. If you're ones that you're repeating often, you can just tick phrases that align with your decision, and they will be pulled into the manuscript decision letter. Lastly, there's just going to be any additional review questions that were set up for editors. So this one is asking a particular question about the online review process, and if you would, some of the information about author reviewer feedback, and if you copy that link regarding the online peer review service. So this is an example of a custom question that is required. So once you have taken all of these steps and you've made your decision, so in this case, we'll click minor revision and we'll enter our review overall manuscript rating. And you can do it from the top or the bottom. You can click proceed to go ahead and save and send the letter. Or if you click save and submit letter, you could just save this now, and then you can save your decision now and then submit the letter to the author later. But here we're going to go ahead and click proceed. You'll be able to review the information entered. You can edit if you want to change anything, or go ahead and click proceed. And it will, if you are, depending on your editor permission, you may be able to see the letter and customize the letter yourself directly. If your journal does require associate editors or other editors, such as guest editors, to hand back their decision to the higher level editors, such as the editor-in-chief, you may possibly not see this letter. You may just enter your comments and then submit your decision, and it'll be handed back to the appropriate editor. If not, you will be able to see the letter and customize it should you wish to do so. Here you also have the option, if you didn't already do so, to allow the author to access any attachments. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and click send now to submit your decision and notify the author, or you can submit your decision without notifying the author. So we'll click send now. And the system will go ahead and process that. And finally, it'll ask if you want to allow the reviewers access of that decision. And you can either do not send the letter or go ahead and send all letters, and that will send notification to the reviewers. Okay, and then this will be confirmation that the letters were sent and our decision has been made on that submission. So we'll return to our main menu. Okay, and once the decision has been made, those submissions will move to submissions with decision. So we'll move to the submissions with decision section, and you will be able to view all of your submissions with all submissions with editor decision. You'll view that in this folder until the final disposition is made. Okay. Okay, so then next I want to briefly cover reporting and administrative functions in the system. You can access those reports under the reports link if you do have access to run reports. Some of the key reports that editors would access, one would be the assignment status report, which is going to be shown under editor reports and assignment status report. This report does display all submissions in the review cycle between the time the editor is assigned and the time that the author is notified. This report can be run for all editors or for one specific editor. You can also further limit your results based on article type or section and category. You can, again, select all the editors or a specific editor here. And then once you click submit and create extraction data file for download, it'll show you your results here. And it does allow you to filter the results sort the results information here. You can easily go to the reviewer selection summary screen to invite reviewers should you wish to do so. If you are assigned a submission, you can also find a link to submit your editor's decision if this is a submission that you're assigned to. You can also use this report to send reminders should you need to do so as well. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to just briefly cover some other reports that you can access via the administrative functions. The next one is the reviewer performance report. You'll find that under summary and annual reports. I'm going to click this one, and this one will allow editors to look at the reviewer's performance during a selected period. Once you run the report, you can decide if any reviewer role designations should be changed. You may want to look for new candidates for editorial boards or other groups. And you can also identify high-performing reviewers. So to run this report, you would just define the submission date range here. You can either choose a fixed date range, so for instance, last month, last quarter, etc., or you can enter a customized date range with your start and end date here. And that will determine which submissions are included. You can also customize your own date range, as mentioned. The results may be also further limited based on reviewer role, article type, section, category, or additional criteria. So once you do enter that information, you would simply click submit to generate the report. And if the report is not what you've expected, you can go back to the reviewer performance report. It'll be an option when you run your report to go back, and you can run the report again if you wish to do so. Then I want to also briefly cover editor performance report and journal accountability report, which are also found here under the summary and annual reports. The editor performance report does detail various criteria as well within a selected time frame, but this is going to be for selected editors. A new report does need to be generated for each editor, and it includes assignment statistics such as quantity and turnaround times, decision statistics, such as the number of each decision term and time taken to make a decision, as well as overall performance statistics as well. And please note that this report can be run, again, for only one editor at a time, but it is similar, but this is going to be based on the editor performance. Finally is the journal accountability report, which is another key report. This will include similar statistics, but this will be for the entire journal, not just specific to a reviewer, not specific to an editor. It will run reports for the whole journal. And you can run that by, again, defining that date information or customizing your own date range. You would choose any editors that you will want to run the report for. You'll be able to further quantify this on the next screen as well. And the report can only be run for a single editor. Okay. And so to discuss the automated special issue reminder report, I'm actually going to switch my screen back to the slides here. Okay, just one moment. Okay, and so for this here is shown, the automated special issue reminder report. It can be configured for every special issue to include special issue deadlines, allowing guest editors to have a more informative and quick view of their workload. If guest editors are working on multiple special issues within the journal, It's also possible to combine the manuscript statuses of different special issues into the same report. You can please contact your journal manager to discuss implementing automated special issue reminder reports for your special issue. And there are just a few other last options I want to cover, and then we'll go ahead and have our go ahead and see if there were any questions, questions that were reoccurring for our Q&A that we can discuss. But I did want to just show you how you will be supported, how you can be supported in Editorial Manager. So here in the bottom right of the screen, here, you see this icon here. This question mark icon, it has a number 7 here for the notifications here. If I click that, this will open up our resource center. And this does allow you access to links. They'll be very helpful for you to provide support. So for instance, I can chat with Elsevier support, which is available 24/7. That is the quickest way chat that you can get that response. You also can get that phone chat as well, the live phone call as well very quickly. Email replies will take up to 48 hours. You can also view all announcements, any news and resources. You can access any FAQs. And again, you can click this link to take you to Editorial Manager to our support center, where you can access video guides, new and updated FAQs. There's also links for editors. And I do recommend the editor guide to Editorial Manager, which will provide you with lots of useful resources, including FAQs and videos to support you at various parts of the journey there. And again, here at the bottom, you can see your additional contact options as well. Okay. In addition to what is shown here, you can also always contact your journal manager for assistance, or any editorial office staff that you're in contact with. You can always contact them. Okay. So that will pretty much going to conclude the main elements of this training here. And just to recap some of the options that topics that we covered today: editor registration, the editor main menu, and your to-do list, dealing with the new submission, managing the review process, submitting a decision, reporting and administrative functions, how to access the editor guide, training resources, and support. Okay, and that does bring us to the end of our webinar today. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining. And thank you also, Charlotte, for running that second poll there. If you haven't already done so, please make sure that you, we invite you to please complete that before you leave. Your answers will help us to deliver these webinars going forward. And after the session, we'll send you an email that will contain that webinar recording as was asked and mentioned by Charlotte. You'll also get additional information in terms of those video guides at EM training, the editor guide as well. So please be on the lookout for that email. So thank you all for joining us. We will see you next time. Thank you all so much. Have a great day.